I'm back.
I'm back!
Yes, after 3 years out of the game, I am back on the Airsoft field. Some of you may not have known this, but I quit skirmishing because I just wasn't enjoying it anymore. In attempts to make it more interesting and challenging, from migrating to only using GBBRs and SMGs, to then only using gas blowback pistols, the increased difficulty and thrill of using realistic operational airsoft toys still wasn't enough to hold my interest. Even attending big Milsim events likely had a hand in my diminishing enthusiasm. That being said, when you're part of a group of friends that behave like the cast of Stripes, you realise very quickly you don't belong.
Army training, sir! Sergeant, I think it's a bad idea to march today. You know, this is the cold and flu season.
Where's my stogie?
See nothing, I just walk around and they're all taking it so seriously.
Yeah, taking it seriously. Yep, we never took it seriously. I wonder how those serious Milsim players felt about us when we wore these wolf heads and Chewbacca masks. A few of them looked at us with sheer contempt, but then there were dudes that loved us, so not all Milsim guys lack a sense of humour.
We're here because you're looking for the best of the best of the best, sir!
The best of the best of the best, sir! Yeah, with honors.
For several years I would be driving to a game and always dreaded the occasion. I would have much preferred to go to the cinema instead and have a lovely chilled Sunday. Feelings were mutual with my friends, and our last game was in November 2021.
Yeah, sure. Cheers, mate.
As of December last year, I have returned to the hobby. What's changed? Is it any different? And most importantly, have I enjoyed it? We'll get into that today, so thank you for joining me.
Привет. What am I doing here?
What am I doing here indeed? I was looking to reintegrate myself with the UK's most ridiculous and bureaucratical nonsense, that is, UKARA membership, after my present defence was being refused by His Majesty's Customs. I chose Spartan Airsoft Woodland as my place I'd base my return on.
Makes Cambodia look like Kansas.
This little woodland site lies right beside Bristol's airport, so incoming flights would regularly buzz the site.
You know, I could just so happily just bleed out here. You ever get those times when you just sat there and you're listening to the wind blow through the trees? I'll have your air support flyover.
My previous local haunt was Bristol Airsoft, set right in the heart of the city in an old magistrate's court. That place was the most visceral CQB experience you could ever experience, and it's such a dreadful shame that it closed its doors. Playing a woodland site felt very much like it did when I first began playing. If it weren't for the extremely diverse array of kit, weapons and accessories, it was basically just like it was way back in the late 90s. Then it dawns on me that it's been 26 years or so since first stepping onto an airsoft battlefield. 26 years! I've been interested in this hobby longer than most players today have been alive. That's frightening. I've got to say, it really does feel weird that 1 or 2 people recognise me from this channel and come up for a chat. I had a young lad come up and ask, "Excuse me, are you that Bada Bing from YouTube?"
You must be Doc Holliday.
That's the rumor.
Yeah, he didn't get the reference. Then, after all the initial introductions got out of the way, it settled into chats about guns and stuff, so it was all good. and that's something airsofters excel at, talking about the guns. Even to the point where we're in the middle of a gunfight and then suddenly we drop back to have a chat. Now, I am more than happy to be distracted, to be honest. With games themselves, I couldn't care less when I lose. Chatting shit with like-minded individuals is the very essence of this thing for me. It's cool. Shout out to George, Steve, Piers, and the man behind the ATRG blog, Dan. Now, as a guy that struggles with green and brown colours, woodland gaming is really not the most ideal setting for me. That's why I generally favoured CQB sites, because I can actually see people. Although the biggest concern at our last venue was a rise in cheating and an office full of staff not willing to do anything about it.
Oh shit! No, get back! You're right. Dead man coming! That guy's made of Teflon. Shit! Oh!
The game itself hasn't really changed all that much, although my guess is that it totally depends entirely on regular crowds. I'd imagine other larger venues or super popular sites might see a larger pool of varied players. While it's still winter at this stage of the year, it was interesting to see the use of gas blowbacks. Particularly, I witnessed several players using the Marui M4. For an ordinary and mostly entry-level site, the proliferation of GBBRs at this location indicates their growing popularity. It was quite the lonely experience a few years ago using them, but now it's wonderful to hear that loud, sharp MWS snap echo across the trees. On 2 visits I used the Marui AKM, and it performed as I expected it to. It kept up with the pacing, and even when I used Bavtak's stiffer 115% recoil spring during a chilly 3-degree temperature, it chugged along and only ran out of gas once. On another occasion, I decided to have a special HK roller-locked day with the WEG3 and VFC HK53. I thought the cold would totally cripple the G3, but I was pleasantly surprised that it survived. Hell of a good time with that thing. I don't have any footage, but one guy ran into its path, and the recoil this toy delivered made it feel like he folded in half and dropped. Obviously he didn't, but the mind is a creative thing. The HK53 is one of those gas blowbacks that doesn't kick very hard, and doesn't fire all that quickly. It still seemed happy enough in the cold environment, and aside from those little levers on the magazines which needed to be worn in, it kept on going and going. Didn't even mind that I had moved its selector switch into the fully auto mode. It consistently rattled off bursts. It's just a shame I only have 3 magazines, so it wasn't long until I was walking back to the safe zone. The last game day I used both Marui AKM and my WETech MP5, set up as my rendition of a Stargate SG-1 SMG. There were only a couple of occasions where it died and I have to swap over magazines, but still, I was able to deliver fire when required. The cyclic rate was slow, and black gas would have made all the difference in the world, but I cannot be asked to buy that stuff. It's too expensive for the little amount you get. Spartan Airsoft isn't a bad site. The staff are approachable and friendly, although It falls into the trap of being another generic woodland arena, and I find those boring. They're mostly forgettable, and I've played so many of those in the last 20-something years that they all blend into one if they don't have something special about them. I've been spoiled by MOD training villages, so regular woodlands like this feel like paintball sites. The thing I dislike most about Spartan is you must use their ammo. Now, I totally understand that. They're using bio BBs. I do too. But theirs are grey. I have a hard time seeing the enemy as it is, and grey BBs make it even more difficult to gauge your range, condition of your hop, and all of that stuff. The BBs have fed and fired okay in my GBBRs, even surviving the savage chambering of the WE Tech G3, so that's something. Still, it's a pain to have to use theirs. They've made the most with the limited space that they have, and made concentrated efforts to improve the game scenarios across the days when I visited, getting away from death matches and into more structured missions. I shouldn't say this, I really shouldn't say this, but I will anyway because I'm brutally honest. I don't care about game plans. Never have done, to be fair. I'll definitely help move the story along for the betterment of our side, but I'm just there to shoot the guns. It's like video games. I don't give a shit if there's a storyline, or whatever emotional journey the developers want to take me on. I just want to shoot. I come from a time where the story was to rescue a princess from a dinosaur. You didn't need any more motivation than that. Although, that's a rant for another day. Back to the skirmishing. If you're there and you see me tagging along and I look like I'm interested, I'm not. I'm faking it. Just don't tell anyone. At the end of the day, how did I get on? Honestly, I did not miss playing one bit while I was out, and I think my enjoyment of it hasn't improved since returning. The enjoyment, that buzz, that rush, just isn't there anymore. The most beneficial aspect that I got out of it was purely running the guns, in addition to the equipment, and seeing how both gun and kit worked with each other, as well as contend with the elements. I took mental notes and feedback on performance, so it's not a wasted exercise. Would I continue going on a regular basis? No! Regular is impossible with my current job anyway, so for now, I'll say that it is likely that I'll go again. Spartan does provide quite a decent testbed for reviewing guns, and their shooting range is handy too. I'm not one for long car journeys, so I will likely keep it local. 20 to 25 minutes to Spartan is nice. I'd actually like to use my PSG-1 in anger, so if you would like to see gameplay footage of that, let me know in the comments. I may just drag myself out of bed on a Sunday morning for that one. Speaking of footage, I recorded these shots with Ray-Ban's Meta Smart glasses, which I have improved with certain protection upgrades for Airsoft. It's not a bad point of view, it's a major bummer it only films in portrait. Thank you for watching the video, my friends. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a little bit unusual compared to some of the stuff I usually put out, but I think it was important to get this one off my chest, so yeah, thanks for watching. Don't forget, I'm a part-time small batch coffee roaster, and if you'd like to try Bada Bing Coffee, such as my beautiful Colombian medium roast, or my rich, extravagant dark Honduran, check out the link in the description. To all my wonderful subscribers, you are the best subs a guy could ask for. Thanks for the continued love and support. To those of you that are yet to subscribe, join me. It'll be great to see you become part of my handsome audience. Look after yourselves.